Okay, like I said, I'm starting another one here. So the next one is I'm going to look at number 60 on page 419. I'm looking at number 60, problem number 60. So x minus 2 divide by 3x. Okay, quantity, the whole quantity, divide by x, 5x minus 10 over x. Okay, so this fraction divide by this fraction. Remember what we can do when we divide two fractions? We find the reciprocal and convert it to a multiplication. So we have x minus 2 divided by 3x multiply by, so we're going to flip this over, the reciprocal of it, x, divide by 5x minus 10. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to factor this out into 5x minus 2. Okay, so this I'm going to replace it with, well, let me rewrite it so that you don't get confused here. X minus 2 over 3x multiply by x over 5x. I'm sorry, 5 times x minus 2. Okay, these two cancel. The x divide into the 3x to give you a 3. So remember there's a 1 here. Okay, so a 1 here. Right, so we have 1 times 1 is a 1. Divide by 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, it looks complicated, but it actually is not. Okay, let me look at another one. So it's on the next page here. So let's look at number, let me look at number 70. Well, 71 is just find the domain. So you should be okay with that, right? So number 75 again is find the domain. So you should be okay with those, right? Let's look at number 83. 83 looks like a complex one, has a lot of a long expression here, so maybe that will capture a lot of the detail of this chapter. So number 83 on page 420. 83. So I have m squared minus 4n squared divide by m cubed minus n cubed, m cubed minus n cubed, divide by 2m plus 4n, all of this divide by m squared plus mn plus n squared. Okay, so we're going to rewrite it immediately. Okay, it looks a little complicated the way I've written it, or that's the way the problem is laid out, but let's simplify it quickly here. So we have m squared minus 4n squared divide by m cubed minus n cubed, okay, multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator. So I have m squared plus mn plus n squared divide by 2m plus 4n. Okay, now the next step, we're going to simplify. So how do I simplify? So I'm going to factor first. So let me focus on this term right here. Let me factor this. So that's the difference of two squares. So I can rewrite it as m squared minus 2n to the squared. Remember, 2n to the squared is 4n squared. So the difference of two squares, remember before, a squared minus b squared, that's a plus b and a minus b, right? So what can we do? We can write m minus 2n, right, times m plus 2n. Okay? So, at the bottom, now we have the difference of two cubes, right? I don't know if you remember the difference of two cubes, right? X cubed minus y cubed. So, x minus y, so m minus n, right? N, well, m squared minus mn, okay, plus n cube. Now, we can always double check this to make sure that, I think if you look at, let me look at page, let me see what chapter this is, so you can look at the difference of two cubes. How do we find? I think it may be in the previous chapter, right? I'm looking back. I think we covered, or you have seen this in the, I'm looking for at the reference here. It's on page 402. 402. Right? If you need to look at this again, it's on page 402. Okay? If you want to look, there's a formula at the top of the page. It's called key concept. So you'll see that on page 402. Okay? If you need to go back and check. Let's see, continuing here. So let me remind you, let me write the formula here. Mx cubed minus y cubed is equal to x minus y times x squared minus xy, plus xy plus y squared. I think I made a mistake here. That should be a plus. Okay, so continuing here, this is multiplied by, notice that this is a plus. Okay, be careful with that. That's a plus. I made a mistake earlier. I wrote it as a minus, right? That's a plus. So, m squared plus mn plus n squared divided by 2 is common, m plus 2n. Okay, now, right, these two will cancel. Okay, this one will cancel with this one. Right, we don't have a whole lot left. Remember our 2 here. So we are just left with m minus 2n divided by m minus n. Okay, remember we cannot cancel anything here, right? Because this is m minus 2n, this is m minus n. We don't have any common factors here to cancel anything. Remember, we cannot cancel the n. Do not ever do that. Or the m. That's completely wrong. Okay? So, to recap here, I made a little mistake when I factored x cubed minus y cubed here. So remember, when you factor the difference of two cubes, for example, m cubed minus n cubed is equal to m minus n times m squared plus mn plus n squared. The two pluses here, remember those. Okay, it's a little bit different when you have the sum of two cubed. The sum of two cubed is m plus n times m squared minus mn plus n squared. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, so I'm going to end it here. Right, be careful with that little mistake I made, so don't make the same mistake I did. Okay,